I do think that sometimes the group can help you when we're talking about when to stop and when to keep going and how to readjust expectation. A group can either help push you or they can bring perspective to help
Yeah.
you problem solve. Is this something at this point I need to let go of or change or keep pushing?
In this episode, we're talking about when you did everything right. You had a plan, you followed that plan, you took action, and then it didn't work out. Or it didn't work out as you expected. So what do? Do you keep going? Do you let it go? Or do you do something else? In today's episode, I am so thrilled to be joined by Stephanie Korpal and Christy Pennison from the Practice CoLab. And we just have an honest conversation about our expectations, about our plans, about discouragements, but also how to make better decisions when things aren't working and what do you do. I know you're going to get a lot out of the episode and from their wisdom in working out the Practice CoLab. Before we dive in, if you are feeling stuck right now and you've paused on something that matters to you, I want to give you a resource. Sometimes we get stuck and we're not sure how to proceed, and then we pause, and then it gets easier and easier to stay stuck. And if that's where you are right now, I want to give you the free resource, the Unpause Playbook. This will help you regain your clarity and start taking steps towards your mission. Just go to coursecreationstudio.com/unpause. And then you can start unpause and move forward again. Now to the show. Welcome back to the Scaling Therapist Podcast. I'm your host, James Marland. This is the show where I help you take your ideas to impact. Today, I have two guests with me, Stephanie Korpal and Christy Pennison. Hello.
Hi, James.
Well, thank you. I was going to say welcome.
Welcome. Yep. And they're from the Practice CoLab, and they are near and dear to my heart because they are helping other practice owners grow and scale and doing it in a group environment. Because I know personally, if I don't have people supporting me, if I don't have people speaking into my life, if I don't have people telling me the truth when my brain is telling me the doubts, that I struggle and I tend to want to give up. So anyways, why don't you tell us a little, briefly about the Practice CoLab, and then what is coming up for you on, I believe, April 29th.
Sure. Yeah, so the Practice CoLab is a space Christy and I designed several years ago now, probably not wanting to admit how fast time is going, but just understanding exactly what you said, that a group space is completely necessary, we believe, to success, for reflecting back to you what your growth has been, what your strengths are, but also bouncing off ideas and brainstorming and things like that. So we've designed various spaces for group practice owners to be together to do that, one another, work alongside one another, ideate together, and things like that. So we have two primary offerings and then kind of an ancillary offering that we do depending on schedules. And those two offerings are, one, a collaboration cohort, which is a weekly meeting with other group practice owners where we will either take time to co-work. We help keep people accountable for their own to-do lists that we all know as a business owner often go to the wayside because other people need you and there's just constantly a new thing that has to take priority. And so we do that, and then we get to do that in a space where we can quickly brainstorm about how to overcome a hurdle before digging into the to-do list or things like that. And then we also have what is coming up that you referenced on April 29th, which is our Collab Lab, and it's our version of a conference. But what we do differently than most conferences is we cut this amount of speakers and sessions very low, and we implement right after the speaker delivers their expert information, because we all know how exciting and inspiring those conferences are. And then at the end, our brains are shot, our energy is zapped. And so putting into practice all of those immediately available, wonderful ideas is so hard. So in going to conferences ourselves and recognizing how badly we want to use that information that we had the wonderful privilege of receiving, we wanted to do something where in the room with the expert, in the room with other group practice owners that can help you tweak it and tailor it for your own individual practice, we wanted to do that. So that is the Collab Lab, and that's happening this year, April 29th through May 1st in St. Louis. We also keep the group really small, about 25, 26 attendees, so people can also really get to know each other, because I'm getting long-winded here. I'll wrap it up soon, but we really believe in turning as many of these relationships into really close colleagues, friendships, things like that, where you can go from emailing somebody to maybe just picking up the phone and saying, this just happened with one of my employees, or would you give so-and-so a raise, or my landlord just said this, and you don't have to wait a couple weeks to get on somebody's calendar, because these people have become really trusted confidants and friends
Yeah.
of yours.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say I have notebooks full of stuff that I don't use. Like,
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I spend thousands of dollars going to conferences, meeting people, taking notes, getting handouts, going to links, and then I rush back to home and pick up on the
Yep.
things that I had to put down to go to the conference, and I'm already behind. And then, whoa,
Mhm.
it's like a month
Yes.
before I remember any of it, if I do any of it at all. Was that what you were going to
Yes.
say?
Yes. And then to that point, by the time you do pick it up a month, your inspiration has also waned a little bit. Your energy to implement is definitely diminished. So that's the other thing we really like about having the experts in the room when we're implementing, is you can just carry that inspiration and energy with you and just dig in immediately.
So that's coming up. There'll be links in the show notes, and we'll talk about it at the end of the show too. So what we're going to talk about here today is the topic is going to be on expectations, and when things aren't turning out exactly as you wished, desired, or thought they would. And do you continue? Do you pivot? Do you adapt? Do you drop it? What do you do when things aren't working out? And I was telling the ladies here, things with courses have not worked out exactly as I expected when I got into it. 4 years ago, everybody was making a course. People were writing books on courses. There were ads like you could make money easily doing courses. And I was like, therapists have information. I know how to make courses. I'll teach therapists how to make courses. And I've done that a little bit, but as the market adjusts and information becomes cheaper and cheaper and cheaper with AI and YouTube and all these other things, not everybody wants to invest, 3-6 months making a course and doing that. They just want to put in, how do I do this in AI? And they'll get 80% of the way or 70% of the way, and then try to launch something. And so anyways, that's been my experience. And so things have not quite turned out as expected for me. And I'm wondering if you felt that way with some of the initiatives that you've put forward. And then what do you do about that? Let's just have an honest conversation about when things aren't turning out as expected.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but like even you said, James, I mean, I feel like this is the story of my life. If there's one thing that I really wish that I could continue to learn how to do better, and maybe I am improving on it, it's how to adjust expectations, because I'm somebody, I don't know about y'all. Oh, I think y'all are both the same. Like when I see a vision of what can be, then I'm like, okay, this is what should be. Like, this is how it's going to happen. And even in our team, and even as me and Steph, when we first even started the Practice CoLab, we were pretty intentional. We went to a retreat. We really wrote down some of our ideas. We mapped out a whole 10-year plan, 5-year plan. I don't even know if we've revisited it since then, maybe once. I think we did it the next year. We did do some goal setting stuff, but where things are even at now for that. And then also, I just even think, I know for myself and my counseling practice, things just are very different. And sometimes in an honestly very good way. And then there's some ways that it just didn't materialize or grow in the path or the rate or the way that in my mind, it should have went. And so I know we were talking before we pushed the recording button, that I think one of the hard things is always wrestling with expectations. I don't know about y'all, but expectations of myself. I will start a week. We'll even go to the micro. I'll start a week and I'll be like, okay, I'm going to do this. It's going to be great. Woo! Whew. And then like by the end of the week, I'll be, what actually did I do? Or wait, did I even do one of those
Mm-hmm.
things on that list? And I mean, I think I've gotten a little bit better with sure that I'm like being with the realm of possible in a week. But it's still hard. And I think it's a hard thing. We talk with group practice owners all the time. And, you know, I think this is one of the biggest struggles is because again, the expectation of even I'm going to implement this and it should yield this. Have these
It'll turn
conversations
out
every week.
perfect. It'll turn
Yeah.
out
Yes.
exactly how I want. And I think part of that is because most entrepreneurs, like business owners, they're fairly high achieving. They're used to success.
Yes.
They're used to getting the A.
Yes.
They're used to being, if not the smartest person in the room, among the smartest, most educated, well-trained person in the room. And so you expect the A, right? You expect to be not perfect, but
Mhm.
close to perfect. And then when things get
Mhm.
sidetracked or things don't turn out as expected, it's kind of devastating. Like I feel really discouraged when I've had those planning meetings, I have my 10-year, 5-year, 1-year vision. I have those things written down. And then when they don't quite work out, it's really discouraging. Have you seen that in yourself or practice
Steph
owners?
just wrote a newsletter about this that launched yesterday to our people. Actually, really, you did. You're like, I got in this meeting. I'll let you tell it, Steph.
Yeah, I mean, James, we were doing just on Tuesday with my leadership team, we did our quarter 2 goal setting, which obviously includes quarter 1 reflecting. And so in preparing for the meeting, I dug into the numbers and I was looking at our goals and I just felt really bummed out about what quarter 1 did not
Mm.
hold. That we didn't hit this, we didn't hit this. And not all of them were numbers things. Some of them were like hardcore yes or no. We did not do, there was no reason to not do it. And so I was asking my leadership team to reflect on what they thought went well. And they named things that we did that I'd completely forgotten about, or things that I didn't really like, quote unquote, count. And I think to your point about high achievers, and this is what I wrote in the newsletter, is we're very good at moving the goalposts when we decide we failed. And so to a certain degree, I think there are some of us that can set us up for never winning or never achieving because as soon as we get close to something or as soon as we do achieve something, we have the next thing set. And so it's like, well, I haven't achieved anything because this next thing is here and that's not accomplished yet. So I feel like I experience that all of the time. And I think another hard thing that comes from that is understanding when to keep going and when to be honest and throw in the towel. And that's a really hard question to ask. And it's really hard to figure out what data to use to make an answer, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. So I'm thinking because as we talked about, courses haven't quite matched what I was expecting. I see the need in the world, how there's not enough
Mhm.
therapists to meet every single need, and that,
Yep.
video, audio, and internet type of communication can supplement the good that is done in the world, and that it removes the barrier of location. So in my mind, video and stuff will get a bunch of experts and will
Uh-huh.
change the world. That's
Yeah.
pie in the sky. But it hasn't quite materialized. And so when you're saying, well, what do you do? Do you pivot? What data do you use?
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm just
Well,
I'm
it's hard.
noodling on
It's
these things for
It's
myself.
really hard because I think, our practice in a different part of the world is going through some questions about a location that up almost 3 years ago. And we went all in. And so I think when you are evaluating when to let go and when to keep moving forward, I'm always a person, James, that I'm like, I want to give this enough time because I do think you have to give things time to
Mhm.
really learn, is this feasible? And I think also, is the market, the service that I'm trying to provide, especially in service, but even in product-based industries, right? Like, is the service I'm trying to provide, is there a market demand for it? And can we also sustain this service? And in anything that you're trying to do the first time out of the gate, you really have to test it. We were talking before the record button was pushed about like almost failing fast, but I also think failing forward. And
Mhm.
I don't even like the word failure because I just think it's a tried. I tried. And I think if you try more than not try. You're doing more than most people. You know what I mean? I'd rather try
Oh,
and not work
yeah.
out than to have never tried before.
I read a
But
Well, I think that's an entrepreneurial mindset to adopt, right? If you are truly entrepreneurial, you will fail.
It's
It's
true.
just part of the equation. And if you aren't failing, you're maybe not trying enough. You're not aiming for
Yeah.
enough. You're not setting your sights high
Well,
enough. I heard somebody say that once as a grant writer. They're like, if you have a 95 or 100% award as a grant writer, yeah, and that has stuck with me even 10, 15 years later. And I think that can apply to entrepreneurship too. You need to be trying things. So I do like that
I
mindset
love
shift,
it. It's
Christy.
like little, instead of failures, I've tried to use the word experiments. Like I have little
Yes, I
learning
love that.
experiments and then
Hmm.
taking the data from those experiments. I think one of the things I struggle with is like, I want it to be perfect. Like I don't do the minimum viable
Uh-huh.
product. I do we're we're building it out, create a web page and an email list and a podcast and a workshop and all these things to support the one product. And then when it doesn't work, I have all this invested in it. And then it's like, well, do I keep going or do I stop? Because I've not made a minimum viable product. I've made whatever the opposite of that is. And now it
yeah.
takes too long to put into practice. There's too many steps.
Right.
It's hard to move. It's hard to get data from it. So yeah,
Yeah.
like that,
Or you may be tired of the idea without having enough wins to keep you going with those last pieces.
which brings us back to doing things in a group, right?
Yeah.
That brings
I
you
mean,
back
look,
to,
listen, I was running today. I went to the gym and I run, and Steph knows this about me. Running's not necessarily my thing.
I was
Steph
going
can.
to say you ran.
Oh Lord. I mean, Steph can run. And listen, we had a time cap on this workout, which means that if you're not finished with this set of workout that you're supposed to be doing, by the time it hits a certain number, then you need to stop. But the girl that I was working out next to, her and her little team, now I was on a team with an invisible person, right? But they were going to keep going even after the clock stopped. And so that means that I was going to have to, if I wanted to do what they were doing, I was going to have to keep running. But because she
mm,
was doing it, I'm like, I'm going to keep going. And the reason why I tell this story is whenever you're talking about the group, like, I do think that sometimes the group can help you when we're talking about when to stop and when to keep going and how to readjust expectation. A group can either help push you or they can bring perspective to help
Yeah.
you problem solve. Is this something at this point I need to let go of or change or keep pushing? Because I can think about the situation I'm in right now, and I've got groupthink. I've gotten advice from whether it be people that are on the outside, people that are inside, people are all around. And I think when you have more people that can help you 360 view something so that you can make a decision, then that also kind of helps with you adjusting those expectations. And one of the things I'm learning in this season is sometimes you have to let go of things to be able to be open to other things. We can't always hang on and then, let go at the same time. Like sometimes we got to let go so that we can have both hands wide
mm,
open for what are the other opportunities that we may be being pulled in the direction of serving. And I know, James, your heart is around service and impact. And I think, ours is too, whether it be servicing our communities through mental health services or servicing the group practice owners that are servicing their communities through this very important work that in my mind is life changing. And I think being in a group does help you keep going through the hard, like my running today, or it helps you evaluate what is the best time, what is best use of your time, energy, talents, creative resources. Because sometimes if it's in a thing that has already reached its time limit, you can keep expending that time and energy and resources into something that actually could be redirected that would actually help you grow and actually still reach your original mission and vision of what you want to do, but just in a completely different way.
it's a opportunity cost. Like if you keep dumping
Mhm.
into
Yeah.
something that's not producing, you're not only underperforming on what you're putting your energy into, you're also missing out on the things that you could be putting your energy into.
Right.
And I love the gym example because I've been going to Planet Fitness since January, so it's like my first time
Good for
joining a
you.
gym. My wife and I are going, and when I see the regulars, it's like, all right,
Mhm.
yeah, we made it. Or people I know from the community.
Yes.
I don't even necessarily have to talk to them, but
Yes.
we celebrate being, doing the hard work
Mhm.
together, and we kind of, high five from a distance, or like, all right, good
Yep.
job, keep it going. And I think
Mhm.
working together with other entrepreneurs is sort of like going to the gym together, supporting each other and encouraging each other. It's so hard. If I didn't have some of that, I don't know if I'd want to go back to the gym or do the hard things in business.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, feeling like part of a cohort, feeling like part of a group, even to your point, Jay, is if even if you're not, going to coffee afterwards, or even if you don't know everybody's name that's there, you recognize people and you give them a smile or a little high five or a nod, and you do start to feel that sense of belonging. You start to feel that sense of motivation. You feel that sense of, I'm going to go ahead and try here. And I do think in entrepreneurial life, no matter what sector you're in, that exact thing plays out too. So knowing people who know your business, knowing people where you know their business, people knowing what your goals are, what your fears are, what your strengths and weaknesses are, can help you with what Christy was talking about, that just honest evaluation.
Mm.
If it is time to consider your off ramp, people can tell you, I know your passion's here. You probably should just keep going. Let's see about maybe tweaking something. Or, Christy, I think that was a great thing. What do I need to let go? So both hands are wide open for the next opportunity. But as an entrepreneur, when we have an idea, it's usually something passionate about. And so it can be just sometimes too emotional to let go. But if people can help us zoom out, we can sometimes find a new place to go with that emotional passion.
So what I want to do here is give everybody an opportunity to give some advice to the person who's listening, who's wondering, things haven't gone as expected. What do I do next? And just what advice would you give somebody experiencing that problem? And we'll start with Stephanie.
Yeah, I think, I go to pretty much like the black and white. So I would say, I I think Christy might laugh, but definitely look at your numbers. Are you being honest about it not working? Because some people think things aren't working and actually it's quite okay. It's not, again, just not working the way they want it to. But then I think setting some black and white, maybe numbers goals around, okay, for the next 3 months, 6 months, etc. This is what I'm going to do, and the needle needs to move in this way. If not, I will evaluate it again, or I will let it go. But I think sometimes people try to figure out how to let things go just by intuiting it. And instead, if you put an off ramp plan or an off ramp evaluation plan in place, that can help you get to the point of being able to know if it's time to let go or not, instead of just deciding if you're ready. Put actual things in place that you will know it is time or not.
Mm, excellent. Christy?
Yeah, I'll just piggyback off what she said. I mean, you do got to look at the data and the numbers. I mean, it always tells a picture, but you also need, I think, the outside perspective to look at it with you. I really think about that, like, because I think about one of the hard decisions we're making in this season. Somebody helped me start looking at this even last year, right? And then I've had people that have witnessed it along the journey. And so I like what Steph's saying. In my mind, what it went to is like almost have if then scenarios. Like if this doesn't change in this amount of time, but we've done this and this, then I will do this. Or in a positive way, if we're able to do this and this, then and we see that growth, then we will continue going. So I think you really have to almost have these like scenarios because none of us have a crystal ball, and that's one of the things that I think is misconceptions about, one of the things that I've learned being an entrepreneur that I did not know before is that, it's always going to go differently than you imagine. It's just you still need to hold the vision of what you want to achieve, the mission of what you want to do. And I mean, even for us, you know, whether it be the Practice CoLab or individual practices, there is a clear vision and there is a clear mission. But it's just
Mhm.
kind of like your GPS. You can get to
Mhm.
somewhere in a lot of different ways, One might take you a longer route, but you'll avoid maybe all of this traffic backup, One might get you there quicker, but there might be a pothole that you run into, like I did last night with my car, okay? And then you lose 2 tires and you gotta sit on the side of the road. I mean, it just is what happens, but I'm just using that as a
Well, there's
scenario,
speed
like
bumps. There's bumps. Things
there's
don't always go as planned.
there's gonna be bumps, but you need people, and this goes back to the people. Get people around you that have seen your journey and can honestly
Yes.
speak from a position to help you figure out which route you want to take essentially. But I do think I heard this from somebody recently and it stuck out to me because I said there's a lot of people that have opinions and you have to be careful of who you're taking advice from, especially when you're making decisions about your organization, your business, the thing that you're wanting to do. And you really want to make sure that you have people that have either witnessed it, like that are side by side walking with you, or that they've been there and they can look back and say, here's some things you might want to consider. But I just am one that I always want to get a 360 view of something, maybe because I think once I make a decision to let go of something, I'll have peace about it because I know I've looked at it at every angle. And also I'm one that okay, how long do I want to commit to this to where I know that I can let it go and know that I tried? You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I think that's different from everybody. So you got to know yourself too. But I will see people, it's that sunk cost fallacy, right? Where we pour so much into things. And you were saying this, James, earlier,
I got it.
Where you hang on so long that it's actually not serving you or serving the people you're trying to serve. And I think that's where you really have to kind of do that deep reflection and give yourself some time too. Sometimes I want to make a decision tomorrow, and sometimes I just have to remind myself, no, I need a bigger window of time before I really make a decision in which direction to go. So I know those are maybe not as steps, but that's where my brain goes when I think about all this.
Perfect. Yeah, I was thinking about, everybody, you said a lot of things that did reverberated in my brain. But if somebody gives you an opinion, but they're not investing either money or their relationship or their, what's that called when the word is missing, like not their relation, with their interaction with other people it's killing me.
Okay. Happens to me every day, James. Every day. Seriously.
Their reputation. That's what I mean. They're not their reputation. They're not investing. Oh, I believe in you. I'll send out this email to my friends about you. If they're not doing any of that, then they're just giving you an opinion and there's no weight behind it. They're not risking anything if they're saying do this or do that. And so, okay, let's see if I can wrap mine up. I would say what I've been doing is evaluating my activities because sometimes I do activities that feel good, but don't get me to my goal.
Mm-hmm.
And if your goal's big enough, you can't do some things. There are some things, as you said, you got to put them down and move forward. And if you are continue to do the things that won't get you to your goal, you're going to take a lot longer, or you might not end up there eventually. And you can shrink the time. It sounds so simple, but you can shrink the time it takes to achieve your goals by doing the right things, by having a big goal that makes sure those little things aren't even a possibility. Like I'm not going to do those things. And for example, I like to create content, but I don't have to post my own social media.
Yes.
I love to create blogs and newsletters, but I don't have to input those newsletters into my email system. I'm doing the important things. And if my goal's big enough, I'm going to find ways to either delegate or drop those things, those activities that don't work. And
because you're just hyper attuned to reaching that goal. And so you become relentless in its pursuit, which means you're probably unapologetic about getting rid of the brush. You don't need to.
Yeah, you can only say yes to so many things.
That's it.
This was from the book Time as a Tool, or Time is a Tool, from Benjamin Hardy. He's the 10x is easier than 2x guy, and the science of scaling. My next book is going to be the science of scaling that I read on the treadmill. Okay. But anyway, or I listen to. It's hard for me to read. All right. So It's been a wonderful, honest conversation. I hope people have gotten some tips from it. Why don't one of you tell us about the wrap us up with the Practice CoLab and well, you don't call it a conference, the anti-conference. I don't know what you call it.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our offerings are on our website, www.thepracticecolab.com. But we do have just a couple tickets left for our St. Louis Collab Lab, which starts with a welcome dinner on Wednesday, April 29th, and then the conference days are Thursday, April 30th, and Friday, May 1st. We go 9 to 5 Thursday, 9 to 4 Friday. And like I was saying earlier, it's a small group. We cap it at about 28 people. And we've got an awesome speaker lineup this year. It is in the Clayton area of St. Louis. So all you have to do is Uber to your hotel, and then everything is walkable from there. Hotel to the welcome dinner, to the conference center, to dinners after that. There's cute restaurants and cafes. And for the runners of the group, very cute neighborhoods to run through. And we just really like it. Obviously, we're probably biased, but we do get incredible feedback at the end of it just because of how it's built with that slower pace and that implementation period. And then it also just seems to attract people that just kind of vibe on that same wavelength and are
humans.
just oriented to, yes, good humans that are just orienting to being cheerleaders for one another, true help, true support. It's constant. Like, let me just go ahead and send you this resource. Let me go ahead and do this. People, I'll pay you for your time. No, let me just go ahead and send it to you. So it's a very open-hearted, supportive environment that we couldn't be more excited to have upon us in just a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect wrap up. So all these items will be on the show notes, and I will work hard to get this out a week or two before the 29th. I do all my editing, so I decide when I do it. So it's well, I don't do all my editing. I have given away my social media and my blogs and my newsletter, so you can pat me on the back for that. It took 3 years.
It's hard.
But I did
it's hard
it.
For you,
sometimes
James.
to let
That's
that
awesome.
stuff go, James. And that's
did
another
it.
thing
Yep.
too. Sometimes it's not even letting go of a big project. Sometimes it's just letting go of small things that we really could use support in. And it's let somebody help me.
Well, yeah,
That's
if you
my
hire
thing.
somebody who loves to write, they will do a better job than you do, who you might
Yes.
not love to write. Anyway,
Mhm.
we could go on and
That's
on.
that's another podcast.
That's
episode.
another podcast. So, okay. So thank you so much for being on the show. It was wonderful having you on.
It's good to see you, James.
Yes.
And okay, listeners, you've heard from the experts. Not everything goes as planned, but it's easier to do these things in a group. So I encourage you to find your connection, find your group, and put your mission in motion. We'll see you next time. I think one of the most helpful reminders from this conversation was the part that just because something isn't working, just because it doesn't go as you expected, it doesn't mean that you failed. It means you've learned something and you're growing. And sometimes this means you just got to take a different approach or a different timeline, or, as we talked about, having the courage to let something go so that you have the space to prepare yourself for what only you can do, or what you can do the best. I want to thank Stephanie and Christy so much for being here. I had a blast. I had a great time with this conversation. It was just so nice to have this experience with you. And I know it will help some of our audience members who are struggling with the exact same problem. This is really something that we all wrestle with from time to time as we try something new and as we do our little experiments in the world of business. And if you are stuck right now, if you're second guessing yourself, if you're unsure if you should continue, I want to encourage you to go grab the Unpause Playbook at coursecreationstudio.com/unpause. It will give you a clear path forward for your next steps. As we end, I want to thank you so much for being here. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for serving and doing what you do to help other people. And thank you for keep taking steps to put your mission in motion. We will see you next time.